guys, thank you for being here. We recorded last week our season finale on Big Two Nerds podcast. I'm Aldo Mendez, this is Drillias, and right here next to me is my lovely girlfriend, the mother of my child, of my two childs. I have another one coming, guys. So that's cool.
Congratulations, you
Thank
two.
you.
First, congratulations on camera. Just so we're clear, it was me.
Yes.
It was me. Hey guys, this is episode 121 of Between Nerds podcast. VNA didn't bail on us this time.
It was no bailing last time.
What was last time? What was that?
Because VNA was a babysitter.
There was a babysitter conflict on the schedule.
Aldo Mendez didn't schedule the babysitter.
We scheduled both. We scheduled two babysitters, and none of them came.
and you were supposed to be on the last episode we did with Karen about Attack on Titan.
Yes.
So it's Aldo's fault. That was the consensus.
Yes, it's always his fault.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
Put
it.
it on me. But anyways, episode 121, season 5 premiere. With Hunter x Hunter Chimera arc.
Yeah.
Chimera arc. Fucking crazy.
I think it's super crazy. The Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter, we gave ourselves 5 weeks to watch it. We've been talking about it for like a full month and a half already.
We had to do a lot of crunching.
Sir, I ask you every week. I literally ask you every week. I did the math. I was like, look, you got to watch 12 episodes a week for 5 weeks. Yeah. 2 of those weeks are going to have 1 extra episode. Yeah. And every time I asked you, you were like, no, I'm caught up. I think I'm almost done. Last week you said, I think I'm almost done.
It's because he tells me that you're going to get mad at him.
Yeah. But like, don't get me wrong. Before with the mic, you told me there's a stressful time. There's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying?
And listen, not to blame my son, but when we get off of work, we just want to play with him, and we don't want to just be on the TV.
No, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
Like, but we got it done. We got it done.
Awesome.
We watched the last episode today.
On our way here.
So our memory is freshed up.
Via day. Probably.
Trust me, I was really anxious. I hate doing this. He's a procrastinator. Like,
hey, I do it all for you, baby.
I know Aldo procrastinates, and I don't even care because I'm just so used to it at this point. I think what gets me about it is he forgets. He procrastinates so hard. And that's when I'm just like, we talked about this. You don't remember like a whole conversation?
I do procrastinate. But we got it done. 61 episodes?
62.
62 episodes. She hasn't watched it, and she's been super excited about watching Hunter x Hunter because she really got connected to like Gon and Killua.
Yeah, to all the characters.
And I feel like you were kind of let down.
I was let down. Like from the beginning, I was really bored. I was bored, and I was like, what is this? Like, where is this going?
And then in my head, because I watched this so long ago, I remember it like it was 24 episodes.
Right.
You know? So I'm like, this is going to be compact, cool.
Like, he kept on me, he's like, babe, you're going to love it. It's like, it's cool, blah, blah. And then, like, I'm just like, well, where is it? Like...
the Chimera Ant arc is probably one of the most famous singular arcs of any shonen anime ever. Besides maybe, like the second season of Naruto, or the third season of Bleach, the second season of Yu Yu Hakusho. And the Chimera Ant arc, it's a fluff piece. It's super long. I get that, but it almost feels like you gotta earn it a little bit.
And you know what? That's my exact sentiment. I was watching, and I'm like doing this to VNA, right? Like I'm like,
and I feel bad because I'm just like,
because
pouting. Yeah.
Because from the pieces that I remember, I'm like, oh, this is the good part. But it's like so low dose that I'm like, oh, shit, like it's gone. Like now we're on the next thing.
And each episode is only 15 minutes, basically. Yeah. Because like even on Netflix, the timer on the bottom will say like 21 minutes, 30 seconds. It's a full like 2-minute song, a full 2-minute song on the end.
But then
a
it felt
recap
like
at the beginning.
Even longer because every time, like the intro and the end, my son loves to dance to music.
So you would play it?
We would play it every time, and I was just like,
and
he's always like, dance, and I'm like, okay, I'm dancing, but I'm like, I want to skip this.
He gets so excited, dude.
He goes like this and everything, like he nods.
It's the best song ever, and I was gonna bring that up too. Like it literally is like one of the best like anime intros ever.
Yeah, I mean it's entertaining, like the intros and stuff like that,
right?
But yeah, I just felt longer than what it should have been.
It feels like the first 40 episodes is just setting up the last 20 episodes, kind of.
And even then, like towards the end, I was just kind of like, I still don't get it. Like Aldo had to kind of explain it to me for me to truly understand that. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
Have you seen our viral clip about like girls in attention spans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he.
But yeah, like as we're watching it, and very important, like at least plot wise, segments for Gon and Killua get there so slowly and go by so fast that you're like, shit.
In a really weird way, the writing style, watching it this time, reminded me of when I've read the books to the A Song of Ice and Fire series.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because like the first book and maybe the second one a little bit are like straight to the action. Like maybe the first half of the first book is like, look, there's a bunch of characters, I'm gonna do my best to just like try to put you in the world real quick, and like I'm gonna give you some drama at the very front, you know, like siblings having sex, like people going people turning into cripples, and like all this crazy stuff at the front, and then just like a big setup for and then George R.R. Martin's writing feels like he kind of gets like lost in his own story. Like he loves his world so much that he doesn't know how to like pace things around it so much. Like you're especially in the last book, like it's like he doesn't want it to end. Like he just wants to put every idea to the point that like he never gets to the point a little bit.
This is that story that you're... What is it called?
A Song of It. Like the book's Game of Thrones is based off of.
Okay.
So A Song of Ice and Fire is the series by George R.R. Martin that the Game of Thrones books are based off of. And like even in the manga, I was going through the manga on the Viz app a little bit. Like the Chimera Ant arc is also like 70 chapters in the manga. There's only like less than 200 chapters of the manga. So like a third of all Hunter x Hunter content is just the Chimera Ant arc.
And don't get me wrong,
I think that's why I was also like so bored, because I'm like, where is it going? Like, I don't want to know about this. And then, like Aldo said, like I got really into the characters that I'm like, I want to see more of them, you know. And it wasn't showing any of them, like nothing. Like it was like
it's in so small doses. Because if we think about the beginning is like we finished up in Greed Island. We finished up with Gon winning the prize of taking 2 of those cards out of the designated area of this game. And one of them was a company and magnet use or something, some magnet power that just like gets 2 people together by any means or something like that. So Gon uses a company to use the name of Jin to go meet his father.
I hate Jing so much. I hate Jing so much. I hate him even more.
The first episode or second episode, like, I was like, what an asshole.
No, he's the worst. He's the absolute worst.
Just because he's like, what ended up happening was that he ended up going to look for his dad. And then...
With Killua.
With Killua.
With his boyfriend.
Yeah. Yes, with his little bestie. And then, and then so, like, after that, they show a scene with the dad speaking to the... Like one of the game,
like the NPC at the beginning,
girlies.
Even though she's real, like the NPC that at the beginning of Greed Island will like explain to you the rules and stuff like that.
Yeah, like he's like, if he's alone, I'll meet him. But if he's with a friend,
it's because
like something like that. Like
he gave the option to pick 2 cards. It was a company or follow or something like that. And his logic was like, if he does follow, I'll meet him. If he's a little pussy and like he picks a company, then I don't want to meet him.
But that's what I don't understand, because I'm like, doesn't he have all these friends throughout like the whole show?
Jing?
Like, yeah, I'm like, he has all these friends or whatever, and out of all people, you would think he would be the one who understands the
Meaning
friendship.
of friends?
Yeah.
No, he's like a sociopath, like a literal sociopath. Like the next arc is actually like about him, kind of like he's a main character in the next arc, and like no, he's a literal sociopath. Like he does not care, like
About anyone.
Like what's the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath?
Sociopath, you still have empathy and shit like that, but you just use people's feelings to your benefit.
Okay, no, then he's a psychopath.
So he's a psychopath?
Yeah, because like he is void of like empathy.
Yeah,
like
okay.
he cannot feel empathy for another person.
Okay. And you know what? And this is another thing. Like, when I watched it and I liked it a long ass time ago, I had those blended. Like, that and Chimera and blended. I thought that was just like...
You had another 12
a
episodes stuck in
falter.
your memory on
Yeah.
top of it?
Yeah. So, wait, if you allow me to take it back, when, like, we started watching Hunter x Hunter and, like, we stared talking about it in
Like for the podcast?
For the podcast, yeah.
Oh,
with
okay,
Vinay.
okay. Yeah, because this is the fourth time we've talked about it.
Yeah, I told Vinay, it's like, honestly, babe, it's like every single season I always hyped it up. I'm like, their relationship is gonna change, babe, and like this is Gon being his purest, and this is Killua being his darkest, but that changes. You know what I'm saying? And like
He's hyped it up so much since like episode 1, like season 1, episode 1 type of thing. I'm like, what do you mean? What's gonna happen? But then like finally, I see it, and I'm still like, that's it. Not that's it, but like, I'll explain it later. I guess.
I think this is the season that really reaffirms that Killua's just like madly in love with Gon. Like literally in love with the guy. Like he's literally in love with him.
I've never even seen any other facial what's the word I'm looking for? Like reactions, any different features from him until this season.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Like
get what
they
you mean.
made him look like
He's
I don't know.
smiling right there.
alive. Yeah.
No, well, yeah, but what I mean is like they made him, I don't know, like his eyes, like they made it so realistic almost.
More anime. Like they're bigger, they're more expressive,
yeah.
they're like
Well, and
He's
to,
less emo.
And to like that point, I was telling her, because after watching this, I see Vianney like being kind of disappointed of the story. I'm like, she's like, then what happened? It's like I know, like the ant thing was super crazy, but like the main point, it was Kite, gone, Kite again, Gon being mad about Kite, Gon being crazy, and Killua also changing along the way.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that like sticks out in my memory so much about like Togashi's writing is like he's also the guy that wrote Yu Yu Hakusho, right? Mm-hmm. And we didn't like season 3 of Yu Yu Hakusho that much because the thing about like Togashi's writing, especially like this type of shonen writing, is that you keep having to move the goalpost. Because like in Dragon Ball, it's like a joke. Like there's just always going to be somebody stronger in some universe that's just going to come fight Goku. Okay, whatever. But like in Yu Yu Hakusho or Hunter x Hunter that tries so hard to be like kind of grounded and kind of realistic, sort of. Like every time a new villain's introduced, he's like, oh, that other guy that you spent a whole season fighting, that guy was a joke. Next season comes out. That other guy that you were fighting was a joke. And like, I messed it up for myself because I watched a YouTube video one time about like the subsequent chapters because there's only a handful because Togashi started getting sick after the Chimera Ant arc came out. And Gon is literally not a part of the story at all. Hasn't been part of like the published story for like 15 years at this point. But as soon as the next arc after the election arc happens, there's a chapter that explains that the Chimera Ants are only a B+ monster. Mm-hmm. Like there's S-class monsters and stuff like that. Like so it immediately takes away what's a third of everything that is Hunter x Hunter. And it's like, oh, you thought those guys were crazy? That was a joke compared to these other guys that I'm about to introduce. And that kind of like cheats it a little bit because like, bro, like if you want me to be invested in 60 episodes,
please make those
make that count. Be like, that was an isolated, weird, crazy Chimera Ant monster incident.
And they serve it to you like that at the beginning. Because at the beginning, when Kite is introduced, they use a company, they meet with Kite, who they thought it was going to be Jin, but it's not Jin.
It's Jing's apprentice.
It's Jin's apprentice who slaps the shit out of Gon again or something like that. but then also like almost shoots Killua, but he was aiming at an anthill that was nowhere in the animation prior to that meeting.
Oh yeah. I was going through the chapters. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and then there's just like 4 feet tall like anthill that is right behind Killua.
They're
It's
pretty
like,
big ants, though.
Yeah, and then I wasn't trying to shoot you. I was trying to shoot the anthill because these ants, whatever they eat, they become that in their next like, what would you call that biology, man? Their next
Generation.
Larva, yeah, their next fucking like cycle of like ants. And it happens, like they bite Killua.
And then like he can literally like blast off the whole body, and that little ant head's still trying to bite him and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I guess that's where they start, and that's a very unique like situation, you know.
I think
So it felt like it was easy for Togashi to write it as a like this is one in a lifetime things because everybody know what ants are.
Yeah.
Like Chimera ants are.
And then the Chimera ants as a villain remind me a lot of the villain in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the guy that steals curses and like uses them for himself. Because we had this conversation. Maybe it's because I was watching a recent episode. It might have been last episode even. Yeah, I think it was the recap episode where we were talking about even though the villain in the movie in Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is he's an S-class sorcerer, he's the weakest of the S classes because like he's more reliant on like trying to find other curses and stuff like that, which is the point of the movie. Because he's like, I could be as strong as like one of the upper level S class sorcerers if I get Yuta's curse. And that's kind of how the Chimera ants are. Like even though I haven't read the chapters in my head canon, so that I don't hate the Chimera ant arc, it sounds like it's who they have access to because they incorporate like the genetic material of their food into their subsequent generations. Mm-hmm. So that's why like the more food the queen gets and more like subsequent queens she makes, they're evolving rapidly. Every new generation is having such a wide variety of mutations.
But I think that's why also I was disappointed, not necessarily on like Gon and Killua and everything. I was more disappointed on the fact that, again, they made it seem like it's like the most powerful creatures in the world.
Yeah.
And I remember even watching this, I'm like, how are they going to beat these guys?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How are they going to beat the king? How are they going to do this? And I remember like just thinking like,
it's gonna be amazing.
Like, yeah, I'm like, wow, like what type of powers is Gon gonna get? Or you know what I mean?
It's the same thing.
That's what I thought because of like what you would tell me or whatever. And then at the end, that's why I was so disappointed because I'm like, I watched all of that and to me it's almost like for nothing. But then Aldo's like, well, not for nothing, but I'm just like, I guess, but also like that whole thing with the ants, like I'm just like, I don't know, like
yeah, and I really do have to use my headcanon not to hate this.
Yeah, a little bit. And then you start seeing issues in the writing because, like, the character with the most lines is the narrator. Like, the more the season goes on, the less, like, dialogue is actually spoken by the characters and more it's the narrator explaining to you their emotions on screen. Even though he was an ant, he felt like he had learned a new thing about what it meant to be human today, and he learned a new respect for the human race. And
yeah, or just like their thoughts or whatever.
Yeah, it's super preachy for a while.
Like in comparison to to our conversation in Cowboy Bebop, like I feel like I'm walking on eggshells with the Chimera ants.
I liked it
because I like it. Yes, it's good. Like the ants. He starts eating larvae, he starts eating bugs, he starts eating birds, he starts eating fish, he starts eating crocodiles, alligators.
Oh, the queen?
Yeah, the queen. And then she gets some fucking babies. She gets some fucking little kids, and it's sad. It's fucking wild, because it's like you're even like, ay. You know, like, pobrecito the baby, you know what I'm saying? Because the babies were just out in the forest, they get eaten, the next generation becomes more humanoid, and they start eating animals, which is like the Chimera ants arc, you know? So all these ants are still technically ants, but...
And then you start feeling for those those humans that died, because they even tell you like background stories and things like that, and you're just like,
they start
what?
remembering memories from before they were ants. Like they have their
it's just-
consciousnesses from when they were human and got eaten.
right, and they make them sound so human too, because it's like they have their own issues going on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and it's just kind of like, why are they telling me this?
For nothing too.
Yeah, it's like, you're just making me feel.
What's the definition of an epic? How would you describe an epic? Like an
Odyssey?
epic poem, like the
Like the
Odyssey.
Odyssey?
Like what makes it an epic?
I think it's like a journey. It's something that takes long.
That's what Hunter x Hunter feels like once you get to
Yeah.
the Chimera Ant arc. It's super long and inflated, and like the writing gets super grandiose. Like once you get to those like later episodes where the background orator is just speaking, like every episode has this weight to it. It's like,
Because the Odyssey,
it's like you're reading the Odyssey in like
takes
ninth grade
25
English.
years to get back home, right?
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the Chimera Ant arc feels. Like it wants you to feel like that weight of it. Like, and that's why it also is kind of tragic, because it's like Gon has one thing in mind. It's to save this guy that saved him. He was a child, and he's like one of his dad's best friends, and he fails at that, and he's just broken as a person.
Shit, you can even go back to the babies being eaten, because they tied the bow with Homecoming in like episode like 61 or something like that, because we're all sad about the kids being eaten, and then like the daughter comes back as an ant, deformed, to her mother.
Yeah.
And that's almost
And then, like, there's even a part of me where I'm like, your son is alive too. Like, you know what I mean?
that was her that was not her brother, was it? The blue guy?
The brothers,
The one
the
that's taking care of the little girl at the end.
the one that's taking care of baby ant kite,
Oh.
the green guy, the one with the hair, because he looks like him. He looks like the
first,
kid.
He was the
Right.
first one that
Right,
that actually
right.
started
Remembered that he
remembering-
was
Yeah.
like that he used to be
That's why
somebody
he had
else.
a lot of like conflict, like towards like the birth of the.
He was the first one
rights.
that kind of like deflected a little bit.
Yeah.
Defected.
defected.
You know, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, did you say yes, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I said yes, ma'am, and then burp.
To the baby. Yes, sir.
Yes, Murder Mendez.
Um.
Can we name the baby Giorno Giovanna?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, like, there's no specific reason for it.
You
I just
can
think it's
name
a
your
real
child
cool
that.
name. I just think it's a super cool name.
You already named your dog that.
I was
Giorno
this close.
Giovanna, like,
I was this close. If you guys didn't know, my baby Saeed Mendez right now was this close to being called
Not
Giorno
close at
Giovanna.
all.
No, you were super
Giorno
close.
reminds me of DiGiorno. No, like the pizza.
You were so close. You were like, she wanted Giovanni, and I was like, I don't like Giovanni, but if you want Giovanni, I'll have Giorno on top of it.
DiGiorno. You literally said
No,
DiGiorno.
Giorno.
he's got an accent. You can't pick on him for
Yeah.
that. Hey!
But then there's a part of me where I'm like, I would have totally made fun of my son for.
Bullied your own son.
Nobody would have
Bullied your own. Oh god, I had like a laughing fit about this the other day about like Jonathan, and I don't know why.
Why?
It was just like me and Karen. I'm just looking at her. I'm like, I can't believe this dog's turning 2 years old, and I really named this girl dog Jonathan.
Oh,
like
yeah.
she's and I always give the real answer, even at work. I'm just like, she's named after Jonathan Joestar. I don't know what to tell you. It was such a pain. Like the day I got her, I almost said neutered, spayed.
Oh.
What do you mean you want to spade your...
Yeah. She
Your
they were like
Jonathan.
neuter, right? And I was like, no, like she's got a vagina. Oh, I thought you said Jonathan. What's her name? I'm like, no, like that's Jonathan. She's got a uterus. I need you to rip it out, please.
No balls.
No balls. Like, please just like spay this thing. I'm begging you. It was like a whole 30-second conversation, and I come home like later that day after work, and I'm telling Karen, I was like, for the first time ever, I think I regret naming her Jonathan. It was like a whole thing at like 8 in the morning trying to get these people to spay this dog named Jonathan.
And
you
it's-
can't spade her, brother. That's Jonathan.
But then what makes it funnier is like I like triggered my conservative parents because like I'm an army brat, right? Like they're super conservative and like we just don't talk about politics or anything anymore, and we're like super civil now that we're adults, right? But like just stuff like that might like that Tucker Carlson listening self, like my stepdad just can't stop himself sometimes. So like he's uncomfortable calling my dog that doesn't have a sense of what gender is Jonathan.
Not even for fun.
He calls her Joni, and he's like, no, you have to call her Joni. You have to call her Joni. I was like, she doesn't know what gender is. All she knows about the word Jonathan is that it's her name and that she responds to it. That's all she knows.
Wow,
so you're the weird one for like trying to like be uncomfortable.
Oh
Yeah, about a dog like not understanding what gender is.
Yeah. But
That's how you know it's a construct.
All these ants don't think about gender either.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, the prominent female
they
ants
do.
call themselves the new queens. A lot of the male ants try to dub themselves the new king. That happens like 3-4 times.
Yeah, the Hisoka bunny.
The Hisoka. Oh god, I hate that bunny. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill him.
So like,
Wait, I had a question. I don't know how we got out
we
of
never
it.
got to the question. I told like 3 stories at once, and then I never got to your question.
No, it's okay. Okay, so in between all of that, I still don't understand what the DD drug was or whatever. With like the white suits, they kept saying something about like that I don't know, something about the drugs.
The white suits? Which white suits?
So it was like a little army of them trying to like kill the ants.
Oh, they did a little like biochemist like little montage where they make like a syringe thing, right?
I don't know. I was so confused, and then I remember asking you, and then like you just kind of like I don't know.
It's 'cause
and then I was like, I'll just ask in the
Honestly,
podcast.
I was in shambles that this was going like super long. Like this was like
This season's so long, I don't even remember this. I just Googled it and like looked it up on the wiki, and I'm like, what is this even talking about? So you're talking about D squared. D squared is a drug created and manufactured by Gyro and NGL, the narcotic made of Byra.
D2 drug.
It looks like a squared. Yeah.
Well,
D2, yeah.
Saying,
DD.
it's 'cause
They
I
said
remember them
D2?
saying DD, and I wrote
so
down
D2 is
DD. That's
probably the
what I
same
thought.
Yeah.
So okay. Oh no, I do remember this. This is the first 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But I'm
So-
just going through my notes. I'm like, what? I even put a little question mark. I'm like, what is that?
So like they're in like this impoverished like remote like island nation and that's where the Chimera ants like kind of land. And I'm not explaining. I'm just like trying to catch up my own memory. In like, I remember thinking in this first handful of episodes that like it felt like it felt a little bigoted, a little bit like Togashi's kind of like poking fun of a lot of countries that are less well off, because I saw a lot of like poking fun of like poor African countries a little bit, and then this whole like drug portion reminded me of like South American drug wars a little bit. It's just like, are you making fun of Cubans or like Brazilians? Like, what are we doing
like,
right
what's
now?
happening?
Yeah, because there's like this whole like mini arc in the beginning about like once the Chimera ants gain like human sentience, that they have like a turf war over a gang inside of like this remote NGL region that are importing guns to like create drugs out of like the tree native to the country. I forgot all about that. Like that happens so early on, and it's like an episode that it matters, and that's where like the Chimera ants learn what guns are.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know. I don't understand what's happening here. Like, I get it, but I got a little lost. But
I don't know if it was supposed to matter, or if it's just
probably-
or if it's a
probably-
backdrop to like teach them about guns. I'm not entirely sure.
It's probably irrelevant, but I don't know. I just remember being like, what was that?
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of moments like that in here because
There's a lot of tangents.
yeah, because even as the first like what is it what was his name, the green guy,
Oh god, I don't even know.
the Chimera green guy, Colt.
Colt, he
Like-
was Colt. Why was his name Colt? Why was he named after a horse?
I don't know, dude, but after Colt is born, he's one of the firstborn, so he's like a squadron leader, and they trickle down from there. But like Colt is trying to get a lot more humans. He's like, just go out there, hunt humans, and bring them back to the queen because that's what she likes.
Yeah.
And
Once they accidentally they accidentally capture one of the people from the very first season during the license arc, and like now he knows what Nen is, and he dies to some of the Chimera ants, and then the queen eats him, and then she's just obsessed with like Nen capable humans from there on out.
Correct, and this is where we start seeing like some of the risk in the Chimera arc ends.
It's like that monsters have Nen,
and they just kill some Nen users.
Yeah. They didn't even know what Nen was, and they killed him.
Exactly, but then we come with fucking Hisoka Bunny, like being like, "I want to be the new king." I don't know what I'm listening to. Cult.
Wait, who? I don't remember.
The Hisoka Bunny.
He's an officer. He's Ramit.
This guy, Ramit.
I forgot about him.
Hisoka Bunny.
Ramit.
He's like, why am I listening to Colt? I'm so much stronger than Colt. I don't even know what's going on.
He's the first one that like actually learns what Nen is, I think.
Yeah, because he gets punched by Killua?
Somebody like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, he punched me some strange power. And then like he just goes full berserk mode.
And then you remember that didn't Gon get punched too?
Yeah.
For his Nen to like...
Oh, for it to get activated,
Yeah.
kind of? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that did
Yeah.
happen. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I think Killua and Gon got punched in the gut.
You know what was disappointing for me? Like, so I'm watching these 60 episodes, and like, Nen is the most like fascinating like power system, I think. And like it's been so long since I watched it. I was like, what Nen power does the king get? What Nen power does the king get? I was like driving myself crazy. And then I'm like, oh, okay, he's coming to the fight. He's coming to the fight. It ends without him ever developing an actual Nen power. Like he beats the fourth strongest Nen user in the world without like ever using Nen. And it made me so like both like impressed with the character, but at the same time I was like, it would have been so cool if he had a Nen power. Like, what could his have been? He defeated a fucking 100 armed Buddha thing. Like, what could his Nen power have been? And that part made me a little sad.
That's true. Like, even then, there wasn't much of a fight. Like, I'm telling you, I was so disappointed because it's like, even then, with like this old man, what's his name? Neturo. Like, I thought it was gonna be like one of the best fights because I'm like, okay,
I was hyped.
This man.
Personally, I was hyped.
Really?
Yeah. The whole like 3-4 episodes, I thought was super.
I like the story behind him, but like the fight itself,
it was
like it was just like the king, like, no, I want to talk.
What's my name, human?
Yeah, and then like boom, boom, whatever. Like he would like hit him, whatever. He's like, okay, now that you got that off of your system, what's my name? Like it's just like that. Like,
Yeah.
Are you done now? What's my name?
yeah.
But like I like
time too, dude. It's wild.
I like that whole Netro episode. I like that episode. I like that whole episode that's just about him being in the woods for 20 years.
I like
and
that.
just praying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that was like the most interesting part of the whole season. Honestly, like
punches of gratefulness.
Yeah. Was it 1 million or was it like 1,000? It was like 10,000. It was 10,000. It was 10,000. So like that's how Netro became like at the time he was the strongest Nen user in the world because like he would just practice Nen punches 10,000 times a day.
Shed his pants, go to sleep.
Yeah. I don't know how he ate. I don't know. Like I thought about the restroom point too, and I was like, it says he stayed in that spot for 20 years.
Back pretty raggedy.
Yeah,
and he just comes to his like sensei. He's like, "Ha ha! I got you now,
pussy! How dare you disrespect sensei?"
Yeah,
just like a half punch from across the room. Oh, please train us,
I really like that part because you remember me like Fearless with Jet Li.
Yes, I love that movie. I do love that movie. Yeah. I almost watched Ip Man, the first one, again the other day. Great. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a kung fu movie with Karen.
Really?
I don't think I have.
Kung Fu great.
Kung Fu Hustle is like not even a kung fu movie. Yes, it is.
It's good.
No, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of what's the one with the white guy and the bad dubbing? Kung Fu Hustle? No, you just said that. Kung Pao.
Kung Pao.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Fist of the Dragons.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of. That one's terrible.
Yeah. Terrible.
That one's terrible.
Oh, that's a lot of peanuts. Yeah.
I love Kung Fu Hustle though. But it reminded me of like Zorro a little bit. Like him just training out in the woods, in the field. It reminded me that early Zorro flashback in One Piece. And the well, we're skipping around. I don't even care. Like the fight, like Vietnamese complaining about, it feels smart. It feels smart to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on this, but like the whole first 40 episodes. First 20 episodes of like the middle 20 episodes after the king is born and he's like learning to become human, he's just like playing chess for like 15 episodes.
That too.
You hated that?
No. That part I was like, okay, where's this going? You know, but I did enjoy it because of what's the little girl's name?
Oh god, what is her name? The booger girl.
Yes.
Booger bitch.
Komogi.
Yeah, it's Komogi.
Yeah, Komogi. Honestly, bro. Let me tell you before we get to this point. The other cool important part is that Kai fucking gets mutilated. He gets fucking killed. He gets his fucking head cut off by Pito, who is the royal guards, who Colt was protecting at first, and they all have this hive mind of protecting the queen. They feed the queen enough for her to give birth to Pito, Poof, and Yubi.
Yubi.
Well, I Pito's one of my favorite characters in all, probably my most favorite character in all of Hunter x Hunter. To be honest,
this is a girl.
I'm sorry. Excuse me?
This is a girl.
I'm like, he is a girl.
They
even had little boobies.
No. You gotta pay attention to the pronouns. Did you watch the dove?
I know it's a he.
We don't even know if it's a he, really. The pronoun most often used for Pito is they. And them. Like, there's like 11, 12 times they say either they or them when directly talking about Pito and Pito alone. There's one instance that they use a masculine pronoun. And Killua says it after they leave the room after seeing Pito trying to revive the booger bitch. Mm-hmm. That's the only time they use a masculine pronoun for Pito. So I think it's apt that like it's self-identified they them kind of person, because like every other time Pito's talked about, even talking about Kai, oh, that bitch, they killed him. We're going to go get them. We're like, when talking about Pito and Pito alone. And like, I think that's apt because like, the Pito as a character model has like somewhat feminine features a little bit, you know, like short bobbed hair, little breasts a little bit. Yeah. But then like,
but also, who am I to judge?
It's just one of those. And I think that's an important point for something that came out in 2003 or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
It came out in 2003.
The manga did.
Oh.
This season was probably animated in 2013.
Yeah, it's old. It's not new.
Yeah. Go for it.
I was just gonna say also with like a lot of different like topics that this story regards, you know, like dad abandonment.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
it's like the first topic introduced
in a music household of Killua.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But even the characters too, like the characters that were being eaten. Yeah. Like there was this one that was just like, I don't remember which one it was, but they go back to him, his dad being super like neglective and almost like abusive, like
I remember.
We're talking about Killua? Who are we talking about?
No, it's one of the characters, one of the ants.
One of the ants? Which one?
I don't know, but it was so it was like they did a flashback where like the little boy was always in his bed. He wasn't allowed to leave or anything like that. And then at some point, like he got really sick and he thought it was a dad who took care of him, but later on it ended up being like, and it ended up being a neighbor, and some kids started beating him up, and he's like, your dad doesn't care for you or something like that.
What character was that? That's right. I remembered that. And that's one of those things, to Vianney's point, maybe. Gyro. That's the one that made the drug.
Yeah, that's the guy that made the drug.
That's the one that made the drug. Yeah.
I don't know, but like, regardless, like, I don't remember what my point was, but I just remember thinking that it was like they introduced like all these type of background stories and
for nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But then again, like, okay,
And so detailed too.
so the bunny guy learns Nan, but then the royal guards are born, and everybody's asshole just like clenches because they're like, oh shit.
The queen prefaced it though. She was like, keep feeding me humans, keep feeding me humans. I'm gonna give birth to the king. And then she points at these 3 XX and she's like, these are gonna be the royal guard and y'all are gonna listen to them. No matter what happens once the king's born, my life's null and void. Like, king's the only person that matters.
I want more Nan users, more Nan users.
Yeah.
And then the king is born at some point, and then she's like, "You're not ready." He's like, "I don't care." Like,
Oh
it
yeah,
was
just
like...
fully grown. He's only named the king until like the last like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
So the whole time he's just the king of the Chimera ants. Even in the sub, it's like Chimera ant king.
And even before that, like, Kite gets murdered by Pito, and Gon and Killua are able to see him.
Oh, that was my point.
And he gets this like menacing aura to him. You know what I'm saying? What?
They.
That's what I say.
He.
No, they get a menacing aura.
About
like
about them.
He's referring to Pito.
Pito's a they them.
Gon and Killua get a menacing aura from them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
From them. So it's already like the Hisoka thing. It's already like a crazy villain kind of thing that is going to happen. So we have a montage of Killua and Gon training with Cutie or Pretty.
Well, I want to talk about that part, like, because that was the one episode I feel like I remembered, like, from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Pito as a character, and, like, I shouldn't have even worn this shirt today, because, like, I'm really pissed because I ordered a Hypeland hoodie during their Black Friday sale, and it was like baby blue, and it had Pito's like face engraved on it, and I'm like super mad that it's not here. It hasn't even shipped yet. I'm so
That
upset.
would have been perfect.
I bought it like
Now we need to
3
do
weeks
this
ago.
again.
I bought it like 3 weeks ago specifically for this reason, because I knew like, oh, in 3 weeks I'm gonna record on Hunter x Hunter, and it's not here, so I'm super upset about that. But like Pito's character design, like what Aldo's talking about, like it has is it N the ends when they like
the bloodlust,
right? But it's N, right?
N,
like
I think so.
that's where like you're kind of like pushing your presence around, like Hisoka does in the second season.
Yeah.
And so like Pito has like this crazy demonic N. It's always animated in like this burgundy and black.
And then it makes you also connect it to Killua's brother. You know, like that type of vibe.
Like that killing instinct in it. And it's so like, and like Pito has probably the strongest N out of everybody but the king, and like they're very upfront about that, which is why like they're also such a cool character, because it's like if Pito are sitting on top of a mountaintop and just like flooding this whole hillside with their N, like even from like it looks like it's like 50 miles away. They're just like, what the fuck is that? Way over there. Yeah. Stay away from is that the king? I think the first thing they said was like, is that the king? And
the king is born.
And well, and then the scary it doesn't stop there. Pito's almost like a berserk character. Like Pito is probably a manipulator.
He is a manipulator.
Yeah, and like their strongest thing is, you see it twice here, because there's like a mini arc in the beginning where the Phantom Troop is reintroduced, because the Phantom Troop have to go beat like a sub troop of the Chimera ants.
Yeah, but even then, I was like, wait, why are you bringing them back in the story?
I like that part a lot. Because like if you don't think the king and chairman fight is action enough, those like 3 episodes with the Phantom Troop is nonstop action. Like it's a bunch of just weird Nen battles happening.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's like a bunch of JoJo fights a little bit.
Yeah.
The Phantom Troop character, who's also a manipulator, kind of feels like a prelude to Pito's power a little bit. Because I had never thought about it, especially at the time, the first time I watched this arc, I'd never thought about like manipulator always sounded like the worst like Nen class a little bit. Because like manipulators, so what? Like you see examples of like you gotta like poke them or put an antenna on them, and like all you can do is control people. Like that's so lame compared to like punching strong, having like a chain that attacks somebody's heart, like and stuff like that. But the way they treat it in that Phantom Troop section is the one manipulator guy, if he's fighting an ant who's got like this hard exoskeleton and he can't plug in his little antennae to use his smartphone to control him with Nen, then what is the next step? How do you break through that exoskeleton? And then what he does is he plugs the antenna into himself and he manipulates his own body to go like full berserk mode. And I was like, oh, I never thought of that. Like, that's so smart. I love writing like that, which is why I like JoJo's and I like the Nen battles so much. Because it's just, the one girl's got a Nen vacuum. Like, that sounds like the stupidest thing in the world. But then that battle's like she's sucking out somebody's blood. Anyways, so then back to Pito. Pito as a manipulator is terrifying because not only do they have like this endless supply of Nen and like this N that is super just heavy and ugly and makes you just want to pass out. It's like hockey from One Piece. Like, it's so heavy. Their character is so heavy that you just want to like
not be there.
Just not be there. You just can't. You just physically can't be in that area at the time. So when you see that manipulator power from Pito and it comes out and it just looks like this evil jester looking thing with little puppet strings on it, and like when Pito uses it on themselves, they're just like activate. I can't remember what it's called. It's still one of those anime where they name their powers, but I can't remember what it's called. And then you just
Puppet Master.
Puppet Master thing. And then just like like Pito's arms and legs just like bulge out, and just like this big like lunge can go at you. Mm-hmm. But Pito's most significant power is Pito's strength is in their N, like that same like hockey like pressure, but it's also in the fact that as a manipulator, Pito can like heal people from anything. Like Pito brings Kite back from the dead to just use as a training puppet.
For all the Nen users, all the new Nen users.
Yeah, for all the new Nen users for the Chimera Ant arc. Since we're about like halfway through this recording, I think so far, I'm not entirely sure. I guess we'll find out later. We do want to put our housekeeping notes right here. So if you want to enter our December giveaway, please subscribe on YouTube, comment on any video on YouTube during the month of December, and you will be entered into our giveaway. Or you can leave a 5-star written review or any type of positive review on Spotify or Pandora, or I just approved a new podcasting platform the other day. I can't even remember what it's called. And then if you email us at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com letting us know that positive review is you will also be entered into our December giveaway. And I did want to give a quick shout out to our community real quick. Even like our oldest listeners are podcast like audio only platform. And last week was our recap episode. And what I really, really appreciated was the episodes from the beginning of the season of season 4 of Between Nerds Podcast, starting with like episode 91 or so. They got like a small uptick in downloads. So I thought that was really interesting because that means people were listening to our recap episode, listening to episodes that came out like 35 weeks ago, and then going back and listening to them because we talked about them in the recap. Nice. So I appreciate that a lot. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, great stuff. And I love Blank. I use Blank all the time. Do you like Blank?
I would love to talk about Blank even more. Right. If only Blank could send me a check. That'd be.
And we use Blank all the time. We could have Blank here. We could have Blank here. We could have Blank over here. And we could talk very, very positively about Blank.
What's that energy drink I want?
Game for no.
Game Fuel, G Fuel, Gamer Fuel. Yeah. If G Fuel wants to hit us up, I'd be happy to.
Those blank spaces were for any sponsors that wants to contribute.
I've been trying to fill up the empty space at the front of the table. This could just all be G Fuel cans. This whole thing could be G Fuel cans. Yeah. G Fuel T-shirts. I'd love a G Fuel hoodie.
A little G Fuel can man on the back.
Oh yeah, we that could say G Fuel.
Yeah, great stuff. But back to the Chimera Ant arc on Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
Here we are being overserved with a lot of Chimera lore.
Yeah.
Here. You know what I'm saying? Now the queen is pregnant with a king. The royal guards are getting more Nen users, fucking meatballs to the queen. And now the part that you were talking about, like Meruem, correct? Meruem. Yeah. It's in the belly.
Meruem
is in the belly of the ant.
Of the queen?
Of the queen. And as she's like giving a sermon to her like soldiers, like, don't you know he needs more Nen users. He needs more of the rare ones.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
they call people with Nen power the rares. Yeah.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, from the belly, we have Meruem, who is yet nameless.
That's true.
He's like, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch.
He literally says like, shut up.
Like, I'm tired of your shit. Breaks out the belly.
And I think
Super Mario style.
I think that's also an important point because she's like grabbing your belly and she's like, "You're months away. You're months away." That means the king could have been even stronger.
Yeah, he's a little preemie.
Yeah, he's a preemie. He's my sister Brianna. Like,
No.
so it's okay. She's ginormous and strong now, just like Meruem.
Has a tail.
Oh, I'm so glad she doesn't actually listen to my podcast. That'd be so terrible. That would be a terrible Christmas if I had to answer to this. Anyway,
I'm gonna tell her.
Doesn't have a tail.
she doesn't, I promise. Even though she's like 6 feet tall for a Mexican woman, I don't even know how that's possible. Some preemie, right?
Oh my god.
What are we talking about?
The king being
Preemie.
He could have been stronger. Like, imagine. So I think there's a few points about the Chimera Ant arc that show that it could have been even worse. Like, Chairman Netero had to like detonate a nuke that was implanted into his heart for them to even kill the king the first time. But I think what's apt is like it's really trying to show like, dude, it could have been worse. So they show the NGL as this remote island nation that's void of technology. They ban all technology. They strip the guys of their tech to even get in there. They have to change their clothes. No metal, no belts, no buckles on your shoes.
Wait,
no,
what? I don't remember this.
in the very beginning, to even enter the NGL, there's the checkpoint to get in the Bridge of the Americas. So if you'll have me, is these two giant trees over like this river that they have to like check in with the NGL government, and like they make them change and get rid of anything techie. So like your earrings, take them out. A guy couldn't go in there because he was wearing glasses, and they were like, dude, there's no technology in there. They don't got glasses. You can't take those. Like their shoes, their sneakers, all that. And they have to dress super bummy to even get in there. So that shows that like the technology available to them, the guns that some of the Chimera Ants modeled their powers after later were imported illegally. And not only that, like they don't have technology. They're not trained in Nen. They don't have the internet or TVs to show the tower fights or anything like that.
And here's where I have a problem with Jesus' birth. I mean, with the king's birth, with Meruem's birth, is that
oh my God, he's Jesus Christ because he comes back from the dead. Oh my God, like I've never thought about that.
And this is my problem with it, because with the royal guards, when they're born, there's this sense of N.
Boom, 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 boom. Like when Pito's born, everyone's just like,
knows.
what just happened?
It feels so like apocalyptic. But then when the king is born, being a fucking preemie, now that I'm thinking about it, like she's like, I'm just gonna take it slow. You know what I'm saying? And that's how he feels, because I meant to think, okay, this fool had the balls to kill the queen, who also gave birth to another preemie who was like this tiny.
Yeah, there was like a little fetus in there, like what, like he left the carcass and they found like a little crying fetus inside of the queen.
Well, after he like shoot it out, like she was the queen was dying basically.
It's like the C-section from episode 1 of House of the Dragon.
And Colt was the dad that stepped up. He's like, this is
I will protect you.
Just to point out that was the moment that she named the king, but no one told the king until like the end.
The Hunter Society were trying to save her because Colt approached the Hunter Society and was like, "Look, hey, I'll spill all the beans. I'll snitch on the Rico case. I don't care. Just save my queen, please."
Yeah. Straight up like American gangster shit.
Yeah. So then like they're trying to save her, and like on the operating table, they didn't put her to sleep. I don't know. And she's just like awake, and they're trying to stop the bleeding, and she's just like, "Please help him. Help who? My queen, help him, help Meruem."
The kid who illuminates all.
Oh yeah.
And just gargles away.
And then I don't know, like a little baby.
Yeah, the little baby.
You just hear the crying.
So, anyways, the other problem I have with Jesus' birth is that it's
Your
all
problem
become
with Jesus'
it's
birth.
all become like
Although it's almost Christmas.
I know, like,
it's just a corporate scam. Everybody's trying to buy gifts.
It used to be a pagan
It
holiday.
used to be a pagan holiday. Happy holidays. Happy fertility.
Happy winter solstice.
Thank you guys. But then it becomes.
sorry.
It's all right. It's all
I
right.
was supposed to take my prenatal.
But it becomes. It becomes a Game of Thrones setup again because he's like,
I like Game of Thrones.
You know what? I want to play chess. I want to play Japanese chess.
I think what's apt about that point is like he spends half an episode trying all the different varieties of chess, right?
Yeah.
So then he masters all of them, and every time he beats a master, he kills them because they essentially take over North Korea. And again, like that's kind of like the kind of like bigoted writing from Togashi a little bit, like making fun of like forested South Americans,
Like
and now
is having a fun time.
like
on the beach.
it's literally a Kim Jong-un looking character named like
Diego.
yeah, he was named something.
Oh,
yeah, he was
yeah,
named
yeah.
Diego, and I remember thinking, why does he have a Hispanic name? I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like I literally thought that. I was like, that's so mean.
Crossfire everywhere. Yeah.
And even his character, I was honestly really confused. I don't know if it was just on my end that I didn't pay attention to his character because at some point they ended up showing him like getting ladies, like 5 ladies or something like that, and no one knowing about them. Do you remember this?
The secretary of Diego becomes like the de facto human representative for Meruim and his crew once they take over North Korea, and then he just imports sex slaves because he's corrupt. I don't know.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
they were
I was
for
just like,
they
wait,
were,
what
they were-
happened? What
no,
did
they
I-
were for the sex. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the king takes interest on this like squalid like looking girl who is blind and has like
What was the game called?
snotted nose. Oh, shit, you got me, dude.
Ah.
It's like
What was her name? We said it earlier.
Kogumi?
Komugi.
Komogi.
Komugi's game.
Gungi.
Gungi.
Which is just another variety of chess. Except it's kind of like checkers, where like if you get to the other side of the board, you can get like kinged or something
Correct.
like that.
Yeah,
but then the pieces have like different functions, like chess.
Because you can't move in, like if the pieces are set a certain way, like you cannot make moves, and that's with like chess.
Right. So like the king has already defeated like half a dozen or so like chess masters or whatever, and this is how he's learning human strategy because like the king never has like an ill bone in his body. He's just kind of like socially inept, like socially missing something. Like he's a special boy kind of. Like he's he's got the special boy strength, and he's a
specific interest.
Yes, he's got very, very specific interests, obsessive even. And like to the point that like he doesn't understand what it means to be human in human society. And like even though he's got like all these human minds and consciousnesses like plugged into his brain, like he doesn't know
He's
how
like,
to
"Who
interpret
am
them.
I?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Existential crisis.
Right. Almost like somebody that can't function in society.
Yeah.
And
People that have podcasts and such.
oh god. And he's proving himself as being it's xenophobia. He's proving himself to be the superior species by being like, not only am I stronger than everybody else because I'm literally a magical beast, but I'm smarter than everybody else and I can beat them at their own game. I can lose at a game once and then just come back and clap them the second time. But the thing about Komugi is she has a Nen power, which is nobody ever says it, but the audience sees it. She has a Nen power where she just can't lose at Gungi. And that like, so we spend like 10 episodes with the king just locked up in the tower in the North Korean capital, just like
indulging this game.
Yeah, just like obsessing over Gungi. And like one of the, I think it's Poof, like threatens Komugi and like
you better lose now, bitch.
Well, the king smacks the shit out of Poof and is like, shut your fucking mouth. Don't disrespect my guest again. And then like as a sign of respect to Komugi, like rips off his own left arm and is like, I'm sorry, I'll make this up to you. And she's blind, right?
Yeah.
So like she doesn't know what's going on. All she hears is crunch, 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 and she gets some blood on her. What happened, dear leader? What happened? Oh, I just handicapped myself as a sign of respect to
I
you.
can smell blood.
Yeah. What is happening, dear leader? What's happening? Snot.
Like, she has blood on her shirt and shit.
Yeah, blue blood, because like Chimerians bleed blue, and she's like, "What? Okay, we can keep playing Goongi, dear leader," which is why they have to announce their moves too.
Poof.
Yeah,
The butterfly.
Well, Poof was like, we need to save your arm and blah blah blah, and then he was in denial about it too.
He didn't care.
He was like, don't fucking touch me.
What's her name? Komogi.
Komogi.
She's like, no, please. Like, no,
I can't continue, dear leader.
She did it for no, please.
Yeah. So, like that whole scene, like I enjoyed it.
I like that part.
I think it was fun.
I think it meant a lot.
Also,
but then it's just go ahead. Sorry.
I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
So it just reminds me of like this small soldiers like troglodyte fucking like troglodyte. What was the monsters in
Troglodyte?
Troglodyte. There you go. Like it's just like this like same concept of like who am I?
Yeah. I like small soldiers. I like soldiers. But I think that part's really important for the narrative because the Hunter Society and Chairman Nentaro have made like a secret Chimera task force. One of them is this guy that has like this 12-foot long like pipe that he just like puffs smoke out of. The second guy
looks like a Native American guy.
Yeah, he's got long hair. It's white, but then he's like, he's a little tan, a spiritualist kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's smart, you know what I mean? Like, he explains a lot. He's like what I missed about like the second and third season of Hunter x Hunter. Like, explaining the shit out of like weird Nen powers and like weird interactions Nen users can have with each other. Like, he explains that like there's like one of the fights is a Chimera ant that can steal other people's Nen powers through an iPod. And the tiger?
The tiger? The cheetah?
No, the tiger.
Oh, the tiger. You're right.
So he steals a different hunter's Nen power to like create like water and like traps the smoke guy like underwater, but he's able to make like a breathing system through like tunnels of smoke and stuff like that. Anyways, I think he's super cool. And like he's what I missed from season 2 and 3. But the other Nen user that's one of the senior members of the Hunter Society that works with him, his power is broken. Like flat out, his power is called hide and seek, and he has like an alternate dimension that like he can like plug in different areas of the world to his alternate dimension, and that's how they're going to sneak into North Korea to fight the king.
Yeah, it looks like the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight White Room.
Yeah. But like that power with the king ripping off his arm is the only thing that could have moved forward the plot because. Pito's N is so strong that nobody could get near the North Korean capital because like it was just too much pressure and it's too scary. And if you get close to Pito's N, then they're gonna feel you. Then they're gonna feel you and they're gonna be like it's sirens going off, right? Mm-hmm. So, but when Pito uses Dr. Blythe, the healing manipulator thing,
he has to stay still. It's like a deterrent.
Pito turns off their N.
Correct.
So that was the only way that the guy that has the hide and seek power was able to press his marks in the inside of the capital to like make sure that they could actually sneak in there. So that kind of is really important, even though at the time it's like, why did he just do that? Why do he maim himself like that?
That's true.
Yeah, and I mean the king's still playing chess. At this point, there is a point where Gon, it's made to train so hard that the smoke guy, I think it was like, I'm not gonna let you out of this room until you can beat me. And they didn't even fight, and Gon was already lit off his shit, and Killua had to be like, yo, Gon, do not kill him.
And Gon's like, oh, I was about to kill you, bro.
Yeah, I was about to kill you. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's because he was also humiliated for like 28 days or something like that because Knuckle... Who looks like one of those 1980s Japanese like gangsters with the
Kawabara?
Yeah, like he looks like Kawabara. He looks like Josuke from JoJo's.
Ducktail?
Yeah, he's got a ducktail. Thank you. He's got a big ducktail. He's got like those high water fucking pants. He every time he fights, he just rips off his shirt. His power is more interesting than you would think because he looked like he would just be like some regular enhancer or something like that. But his power is called bankruptcy. And I love that power so much because again, I love powers that like I could never think of myself because it's like he can punch you with something around it's not even a real unit of measurement. He's just like, I punch you with 500 yen, 500 nen, excuse me, 500 nen, and that means you're in debt to me for 500 nen. So then you get this little fairy thing that follows you around.
Like a little bubble
charges
thing.
interest.
Yeah, that charges interest every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
For 10%. So then, like, once this timer hits, like, your total nen values, if Gon's is 10,000, if he's hit with 500, once it hits 10,000 after so many 10-second increments, like, he goes bankrupt. And he just flat out can't use nen for 28 days.
But what I do like is that he uses his power in tandem with his stamina. It's like, you can't catch me.
Yeah, because you have to, like... You're bankrupt, so you owe him nen, so you have to punch him with that same amount of nen back.
Yeah.
What I was gonna point out, which it gave me like a little flashback to what I was thinking as I was watching it. So when he first introduced that power while fighting Gon, or training him, whatever he was doing, it seemed like that power went by like this, like within just like a minute or something, because they kept going back to Gon, like, oh, like he kept looking at it. He's like, oh my god, how did it go up already? Like, I haven't done anything. And then he would keep looking up. Oh, what? Like, I'm already like at like the highest point. And then when that power is used again on a different character, oh my god, like it felt like forever. And they're like, it's only been like 10 minutes. Like, they'll mention, like, the time that has just gone through.
Even the narrator.
And you're like, what? Like, I've been watching this for 2 hours.
Even the narrator, after an entire 15-minute episode, would be like, only 10 seconds have passed.
Yeah.
How are the guys going to get him to go bankrupt?
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Yeah, and I was waiting, like, on one of the fight, and I know I'm skipping a little bit, but, like, there's a fight
when they're fighting Yuppie.
Yeah, Yuppie. And I'm like, all right, well, they're going to beat him because he's going to end up running out of time.
But Yuppie has unlimited nen.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't even know what that is. Is it 500,000 nen? I don't even know, like...
Who knows how long this is going to take? And it doesn't happen because then Yuppie is like, okay, you don't want to take this thing off of me? I'm going to kill your boy unless you take this thing off of me.
Shoot.
Yeah, shoot.
I think Shoot could have been way cooler, but then he gets like hurt early, like in the arc, because they raid
the guy with the hands.
Yeah, they raid North Korea through the magical dimension or whatever that guy set up when Pito's end was off. Yeah, in hide and seek. So like, there's like 2-3 episodes that you're supposed to believe are 30 seconds when it's just like, dude, I've been watching this for 45 minutes. To V's point, like, what do you mean it's been 10 minutes?
Yeah. I'm like, what is time?
She'll be like, what? Like, every time the narrator will be like, it's been 2 minutes.
Yeah. And I'm like, I've been watching this for like 2 hours. What do you mean? Like, not even exaggerating.
That makes it even longer, dude.
Like, that's why I felt like I was watching him forever, because I was like, what?
Yeah, the way they even explain it too, they relate it to like a samurai on samurai fight, being like their senses are so honed that what they're seeing so far ahead that what we're judging with our sight feels like 10 seconds, but to them feels like 30 minutes. And like it's like God, I need to stop relating shit to Yu-Gi-Oh. it's like in Yu-Gi-Oh there's 40-minute rounds, right? It sounds like a long time. You're playing like 2/3 of an hour and playing one round, right? A lot of people complain, number one, that time rules exist at all, or number two, that 40 minutes is too short. 40 minutes being too short is a very, very prominent complaint. And it's because like you're so focused, you're so in the game, you're just making plays, and you're thinking 2-3 plays ahead, and then like you're like, oh my god, am I gonna lose the time? And you've got 30 seconds left, and you're just like
like, I just started.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, this is game one. We're supposed to do a best of 3. Why is 39 minutes gone? That's how I related it to that part.
No, it does, but then that's how the story feels, and then the king is still playing fucking chess with Kugumi.
Oh my god,
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, you better not fucking lose, because I'm gonna kill you, even though you love me and I love you too. But I'll fucking kill you if you're not smart with this shit.
He threatened to death a lot.
Yeah.
Like Pito and Pooh and Yuppie.
She's just like, oh god.
No, well, she was the one who's like, well, kill me if I lose, because
Yeah.
then why am I alive type of thing.
And then she's like...
And that's when he ended up cutting off his arm. He's like, I'm sorry, I offended you. You're right. Like,
he thinks he's being super smart too. Like he like thinks he's found like he found the out. He found the line
he's
of
like,
play.
there's no way she's gonna find a way out.
Right, and then
like,
she
I
does
already calculated all the moves.
all the possibilities, and then she counters it, and she's just like, "Oh, dear leader, I didn't want to say anything, but I created that play. I invented that play actually like 4 years ago, and I didn't want to say anything because I was
like
having
4.
so yeah, I was like 4 years old, beating people 6 times my age, and like I didn't want to say anything because I was having so much fun. But please, dear leader, and God, all the logo.
Oh, sorry.
What's also happening at that same time in like that 30 seconds that they first like raid North Korea is that the Killua's grandfather is an emitter type, and he like has like this giant emitter Nen dragon thing that he can like create, and like it's just raining missiles. It's just raining missiles over North
and this
Korea,
is as
over Pyongyang.
Gon and Killua and all of them had just gotten
the
into
Chimera
the...
squad.
And they didn't know Killua's grandfather was going to be a part of this plan. They just knew like Netro was going to catch up with them somehow.
He's like, I have a bestie that I'm going to invite.
It's like
Yeah.
It's like 8 episodes that we're like Quentin Tarantino tying the shit out of this like.
It's like Ocean's 11ing this shit.
Yeah. It's like it's a heist movie. Exactly, that's what it is. Because we have Killua and Gun squad like plan going on. We're
going after Pito. You two are
Yeah.
going after Poof. You two are going after Yuppie.
And then also like the Royal Guard is like, yo, I think we're Spidey sensing that we're gonna get attacked soon.
There's all this sussy shit going on.
Yeah.
Like we just kidnapped 2 million
the wolf
North
guys
Koreans.
being weird. Yeah.
The dragonfly. Where did he go?
Yeah. All this stuff.
So, like, I think that's really cool. Like, when Netro and Killua's grandfather first enter the scene, because we didn't know about it until it happens. Like, the audience learns it with the rest of the team, and out of nowhere, like, the narrator's just like, and then the clouds formed, and this giant energy dragon came out, and we're just like, what the fuck is that?
And then that happens, and then next episode, the narrator's like, ever since Netro was a leader, he met his match, who was Killua's grandfather, and they had a yin-yang relationship with each other, so they always respected
That's
each
what I mean
other.
about it being an epic. That's like that epic type of writing, because it's literally like it's like creating this backstory that wasn't there. It's creating like this super
On the
deep.
fly. On
Yeah.
the fly.
And I
It's
don't
like,
hate
by
it.
the way, this
Yes.
happened.
I
Okay,
don't
now
hate
let's
it
go back.
though. Like
No,
in the
it's-
moment, I don't hate
the
it.
moment is not, but like when I'm looking at Vianney, like 40
Waiting for a
episodes-
reaction.
Yeah.
V please,
40
please.
episodes in, I'm like, this is cool. This is the cool part.
And she's just like,
yeah.
2 old guys on a dragon. What's going on?
Two old guys on a dragon.
Well,
after they start shooting that, like that's when they actually show some power, some Yuppie's power.
Pito's power.
No,
Pito jumps up and then Yuppie.
On the stairs?
yeah, on the
Yeah, on
stairs.
the stairs.
The bombing reminds me of the beginning of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
The bombing, really?
Because Geppetto's like son dies from just like some random bombing in World War One.
So after like the shooting
Of the dragon.
of the dragon, there's 2 things happening at the same time. So there's a fight with Yuppie on the stairs. And then, at the same time, when the 2 old men arrived where the king was, Komogi had gotten, I don't know, she got hurt. And then...
Like one of the stray like dragon
one
blasts.
of the arrows, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the blasts, one of the blasts actually got to her, or I don't even know
It
how
like
to say
pierced her gut too. Like
Yeah.
it took like a chunk of her stomach away.
Like, she was badly hurt. And he basically asked Pito to help
The
her.
king asked Pito. Yeah.
Yeah, the king or asked
Because they were playing Gungi.
Yeah, during that time, yeah. And so, anyway, so he ended up asking Pito to help her survive. And then when the old men arrived, like, they're just like, oh, like, what's going on here? Like, they didn't even attack right away. They're like, out of respect, like, we're going to stay back here.
Before he tells Pito that, though, Pito does confront them. Like, Pito is sitting on the highest tower in the capital, senses them. In what's apt is, like, the beginning of that episode, Pito and the king have a conversation where the king is actively annoyed by Pito's N at this point. But Pito's like, dude, that's like our security system. What do you mean you don't want me to use N?
Yeah, he's like, chill out.
Yeah, he's just like, who's going to hurt me, the king? And then he's just like, only point your N upwards. So that's why Pito, like, recognized it first, even before the blasting started happening. And then, like, the second Pito feels it, like, they're just like, what?
That's true.
And jumps straight up, tries to confront Netro, and Netro's just like, child, bop, slaps.
But then these are the little moments that keep reeling me back after, like, looking at Vinay for a reaction for, like, 20 times already. And, like, Netro, as we see one of these, like, thigh power, like, leaps that Pito makes, which look fucking awesome because it's a cat prowling
veins. Yeah. Big.
He's just like fucking.
Aldo likes seeing the big old thick veins. You know what I mean?
No,
it means they're stronger. What do you mean?
Do you remember Kung Fu Hustle?
Yes, I remember.
The frog dude.
Yes, I know the exact scene. Yes,
dude. And it's just like boom, and he pounces, and Netro's like. I calculated about like 1,000 attacks we could have done, and let me tell you, like, this is a bad choice.
I like that Netro is. They give an age. They say that he's like 120, 130, something like that.
Yeah.
But like he appears only to be in like his 60s or 70s because of his nen. Like his nen is so strong it keeps him young and like rejuvenated. And like you're right, he says that but he says something like. Even more demeaning. It's like, child, you seedling, you newborn. How dare you come at me like that? Like, just bop, like literally slap. Doesn't even use the Nen power. Just a physical slap, just like slap, and just like knocks Pito down to the ground. Just like those Dragon Ball scenes where like they get knocked into a mountain or into the ground. It's just like, what just happened?
Started to get interesting.
Yeah. But then Pito's never experienced anybody that strong, and Pito's just like, what the fuck was that? Like,
that they had to use the healing puppet thing to even like stop
Dr. Blythe.
Dr. what?
Blythe.
And as he gets slapped down into the castle again, like now he has found out that the Komugi is hurt, and the king is like, whatever happens, like, I need you to heal this girl.
And that was another instance that the king used like another death threat. That was like, I'm going to kill you if she dies.
But then also, we haven't mentioned that Poof, the butterfly guy.
I hate him.
Yeah.
He, like, within the times that they were playing, like, he was, like, already so jealous of her.
He was already planning her death, being like, "Oh, she's taking so much of the king's attention. I need to murder her."
Like, we're not gonna take over the world until this little girl dies.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because that's all he wanted. Like, and all the king wanted was to prove that he was a superior being, and he couldn't do that if he couldn't win at this one game of Gungi against this blind girl.
Yeah.
So like that, their goals were different. Like. The Poof was already convinced, as one of the royal guard of the king of the Chimera ants, that like he was already. It's all xenophobia, but like different kinds of xenophobia. You know what I mean? It's still like one side is, I don't know, fucking Hitler, who's already convinced that he's like. Poof is convinced that the king is Hitler, and he's like, dude, you're already a superior race to this little blind girl, and then the king is kind of like. Well, I'm kind of Napoleon because I can't prove that the French are superior until I take over all of Europe. So, or maybe I'm thinking too much about it. I don't know.
Because it does feel like that. But like at the same time, with the king having that motivation of like, I need to prove myself to do the things that I'm gonna do. Because even the Chimera ants' biology trait is that the queen makes a king, and then the king has to make another queen, and the queen makes another king, and then there's two kings around.
It's also a pyramid scheme.
Correct. Yeah.
So they spend like
Herbalife.
they spend like half an episode discussing like the Herbalife like pyramid scheme, like literally.
And then it was pointless at the end because
Yeah,
she ended up dying anyway.
No,
And he
it's
died,
pointless
yeah.
Because the king was like, I don't want to do
want to do that. Yeah.
Well, honestly, the more I thought about that, though, because I kept thinking about that half episode, because I spent so long talking about the pyramid scheme. And, like, I think what's significant is that Poof fucked up, because, like, if they discuss the whole, like, Chimera ant, like, lineage, you know what I mean? That's what makes them so scary, is that, like, they keep branching out. Komagi was gonna be Meruem's queen. Correct. And, like, Poof is too, like, blindsided, being like, no, Meruem's God, Meruem's the fucking, like, the shit, like, nobody can ever compare. But, like, dude, he was gonna mate with Komagi and make an even stronger second king, and you, like, were too dumb to realize that. It's so, like, Poof fucked it all up. I honestly think, like, the fall of the Chimera ants starts with Poof. Because he was too in love with the king.
He was just so... Honestly, he was, like, the most annoying character.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I was just like...
I hate Poof. I hate Poof so much.
Every time they would show him...
He's being all pompous with his fucking violin.
Like, very, like... There's a point, or at least towards the beginning, when they were barely introducing him with, like, how much... I don't know, he was almost, like, very, like, It's every time he spoke, it sounded like a poem type of thing, and it reminded me of...
He's a fucking theater kid.
The Grinch.
Yeah, a theater kid.
Who will?
Beastars.
Oh, the deer?
Yeah, for some reason it reminded me of him because I'm like,
okay.
I don't know. I just connected the dots to that.
Poof reminds me of like
character.
You ever met a girl that like everyone knew her man wasn't shit, but she didn't know her man wasn't shit? That's Poof a little bit. Like, he's too in love with the king. Like, he can't even see the king's own faults. Like, it's okay to be in love with another person, but, like, be real about who they are. You know what I mean?
And when Jesus comes back from the dead, we have, like, an episode and a half of, like, Yuppie and Poof being like, Sire!
They're just little chibis.
I know! I was like...
Like,
they even give him little red cheeks. And I was
they
like,
just turn into little chibis. And I just want to get to the fight. So, like, after a while, like...
oh, okay. Well, sorry.
Go for it.
I was
Go
just
for
gonna...
it.
You reminded me. Yeah, so after Pito actually started saving Komogi, that's when also Gon comes in.
With Killua.
With Killua. And then that's, like, the first time that you see Gon in a different, like...
mindset.
in a different mindset.
And also for a viewer like you, babe, like, this is the first time bringing the characters that you love back into frame.
Yeah, because I'm like, they weren't
You shouldn't like
in
the
it
ants
at all.
Yeah.
The Chimera ant arc is about the ants too much.
Yeah.
But it is, and then it's irrelevant information that doesn't even matter at the end. That's what annoys me.
It's to give every death weight is the issue. And, like, Hunter... Demon Slayer does it better. Because Demon Slayer will show you the action first for like 3-4 episodes, show you their death, and then give you their backstory. The Chimera Ant arc is like... backstory. They died. Okay, next backstory. And so I get what you mean. And it's ugly because, like, Gon... like, basically, Pito's power had turned Kite into, like, a literal just, like, flesh puppet. Like, just, like, he's void of a human soul, and he's not alive. He doesn't have a beating heart. He doesn't have a working circulatory system. It's just a shell working off of the Nen puppet thing that Pito has. And that's what, like, breaks Gon's heart. Especially because, like, the first time he sees Kite like that, he still can't use Nen because he's still suffering from Knuckles' bankruptcy. So, like, that whole time he's in bankruptcy, he's just thinking about it. He's just like, I can't wait to beat the shit out of that weird-ass cat.
I need to get Kite back to
Yeah, I'm gonna get Kite back. I'm gonna beat the shit out of that cat.
And I'm sorry if I'm like... I feel like I'm annoying myself with how much, like...
You hate
shit
it
talk.
so much.
No, it's
like,
great.
I'm just, like, talking shit about the whole.
I'm glad you're here.
season.
I'd just be geeking for an hour, and I'd have nothing to talk about for the second hour. I'm glad you're here.
I don't know. I just feel like I'm shit talking. But what I was going to say was that I lost my train of thought, to be honest. I'm like, hold on, let me remember. Wait, talk about it, I'll remember.
With Pito and Kite. Like, Kite
Oh,
is
I
so
remember.
defeated.
Kite. It was about Kite. Okay, so why is Gon so hung up on Kite when, like, he's only met this guy? Like, I know it's, like, his dad's friend.
He met him once as a child.
I know, but that's what bothers me, too, because I'm like, why did he turn into such... Like, why is he not himself?
A motivation. Such a motivation
Because
for him.
You haven't watched nearly enough Shonen. Like, I can't even explain
it's
this.
a
Like,
trope.
it's a trope. It is a trope because, like,
It's just to get rid of it.
literally the most recent episode of a manga chapter of One Piece is like that, where Luffy starts a full blown war that's like the globe-sized war, and they're just like, why'd you do that, Luffy? And he's just like, because that bitch fed me, and he punched her, so now I'm gonna beat the shit out of them. It's just one of those things. He's like, Gon's just like, dude, he saved me once from the little cat bear thing when I was a kid, and now I just owe him for life. And that weird amorphous cat thing killed the guy that saved me as a child, so now I gotta murder that cat thing.
Yeah.
Like, the Chimera Ant, at this point, like, it's expecting the viewer to remember that Gon's motivation is to meet his dad and to get closer to his dad.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's part of it,
expecting
too.
And it's expecting you to remember that.
That's part of it too.
So now that he meets Kai...
You killed my dad's apprentice!
Exactly. So now he's like, oh, you son of a bitch. And then Killua's like, oh my god, dude. Like, what are you doing? And then...
Where's my friend that I'm in love with?
And then, okay, so...
You're such a different person when you're drunk. What's happening right now?
So this is where all these weird, like, interactions with, like, Killua, Gon, and Kite, and Gon... Honestly, at this point, even if it was a new viewer, I could have guessed that Kite was dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Kite, it's a zombie now.
Yeah. It's It's even Frankenstein the fuck up. Like, like a bunch of stitches and
Absolutely. And it feels like Killua's trying to, like, keep him off the deep end and be like, it's okay.
I want that bloodlust, but like this side of the cliff.
Yeah, but then I was telling A, like, at the point where Killua's grandfather sees him after the dragon rain.
They talk.
The grandfather looks at Killua, and they emphasize the shot direction emphasizes on Killua's eyes. He's like, oh, look at his happy eyes. Like, he's grown, he's changed. He's not this tortured kid who is meant to be an assassin boy. Mm-hmm. And he also.
And he even told him, he's like, you make the decision in there, or something like that.
You got rid of your brother's grip, even. Like, of your brother's curse.
Yeah, he was possessed by a Nen needle because his brother's also manipulators, so had, like, trained... Well, not even trained him. He had, like, again, another antennae, which is, like, one of his brother's hairs. That's, like... Well, it was, like, anytime you're in danger, or, like, you're not sure if you're in danger, run. No matter what, run, which is like the opposite of like a shonen protagonist, because like it can be like Goku against like a fucking nuclear weapon and he's just like, I can take it, you know what I mean? And that's like supposed to be like what shonen characters are about, which is who Gon is. But then Killua, under his brother's influence, was always just like, dude, if you are unsure, run.
Even for just a little bit, get the hell out of here.
Right.
But then what I'm explaining to VNA too is like, listen, like at the same time we're seeing Gon taking hostages. We're seeing Gon like not caring about his teammates, like doing a solo mission even.
Right.
We're seeing Gon like all this
even acting different with Killua, like
yeah, exactly. And every conversation so far before this episode, it's been about like how Gon is this pure thing. Mm-hmm. And from what Drew said, like Gon is not being there in the chapters for a reason.
Yeah.
And I guess I that's what I mean. Like, I get it.
Makes you excited, but
I get it. But at the same time, I'm just like, like, don't waste my time. Like, that's how I almost feel. Like,
nerds were hyped for this episode, and
yeah. And again, I'm sorry. Like, I feel like maybe listeners or viewers are gonna be like, "Oh, get her out of here," because like maybe they're like the total opposite
I'm
with
with
this
you.
season.
I'm with you.
But
I'm with you. The nostalgia glasses got in between me and my
Bleach.
my viewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this 60 episodes of Hunter x Hunter Chimera Ant arc was 24 episodes.
Well, you haven't thought that the past 6 months, because every time you would bring it up, I was like, well, it's 60 episodes old, so I don't know how we're gonna watch it. And then we did, and I'm glad we watched it, because like I feel like I had a good time. But I can accept its faults. I very much can. Like, don't get me wrong, because like maybe Togashi knew that like he was on a timer. You know what I mean? So like he really was just pushing out these chapters, because the Hunter x Hunter manga barely started being publicized like 3-4 months ago at this point, after like there being 5 chapters in the past 10 years, and we've already gotten that many chapters just like in the past 6 months, right? Which is a huge deal. But one of his editors put out a statement in Weekly Shonen Jump, I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, saying that there are 30 chapters on backlog that are already written by Togashi that have yet to be drawn by his assistants. So like Togashi's in that hospital bed after the fallout of like, yeah, well, like he's thinking about it, you know what I mean? Like he's with his phone on the notes app being like, "Hey Siri, take this note." You know what I mean? With his fucking back broke in a hospital bed, just like thinking about like how to end Hunter x Hunter. And like I don't know, like it might be mean to say, but like it kind of feels like he gets a sense for his own mortality, so he's just like trying to revel in this last thing that he loves, you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's mean. I don't know if that's mean to say, but like it feels like he's too in love with like what he's making sometimes, which is cool. Like, dude, if you keep making Chimera Ant arc quality chapters until the day you die, which is a terrible like thing to hope for somebody. I hope he lives until he's fucking older than me. I don't give a shit, but like
he's already older than you.
Well, like I hope he lives to 120. I hope he lives to 120. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some exorbitant, like, I hope he lives forever for all I care. But, like, if these quality chapters are all we get until the day he dies, like, I don't mind it. Like as long as it's Togashi's writing, as long as it's Hunter, and he gives the green light and be like, that's exactly what I meant, bro. Publish it. Like, I'm with it. I'm with it.
And I'm sure I'll probably, like it more maybe next season, and I'll actually
you won't. No, you won't.
Okay, well maybe I'll understand this season more, and
honestly,
and maybe appreciate it more after I.
This is my Lannisters. This is my first season of Game of Thrones.
I don't even know if Aldo to express this to you, but we've talked about this before. I don't know if we're going to discuss the last season of Hunter x Hunter on the mic.
Why?
Nothing happens, V. Like, it's 12 episodes. That's an election cycle. Like, it's literally like an election cycle. It nothing happens. Like, literally, nothing happens. Gon is removed after the end of the Chimera Ant arc. He severs his connection with Nen. Oh, yeah. Well, they reconnect his arm. Oh, that's right. He severs his connection with Nen. He's never gonna have Nen again. That's all we know. And then, like, the 50 chapters after that are all about Kurapika.
So, if anything...
Kurapika is the guy with the
blonde hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like,
with the spider thing, yeah.
Togashi has gone on record saying, like, no, Gon's story is done. Like, literally, the rest of the manga of Hunter x Hunter is just about...
He never met his dad?
He does. Well, that's the only thing... Well, and
it's
really bad. It doesn't matter. Even then, like, Jing's just like, "Oh, you're my son? Wild. You want a beer?" He doesn't say that, but you almost expect him to say that. You know what I mean? Like,
if anything, we're gonna talk about the next animated series of Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Connected to this last season of Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, like, we are more... Yeah, right. Once, like, if we get enough chapters and they reboot the anime and they start again, we are more likely to talk about that subsequent new season than the final season of the 2011 adaptation of Hunter x Hunter by Studio Madhouse.
That's what it is to be an anime fan, baby.
That's yeah. This is what it's like to care about shit. Yeah. Like, this is what it's like to care about things.
You're gonna leave me hanging?
Yes, yes.
It hurts.
That's what it's like watching the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
It sucks.
That's it. You did this to me. You did this to me. I gave you everything. Like all I gave you was love and attention, and I watched all the YouTube videos breaking down the trailers, and this is what you did to me.
And this is where life teaches you that.
Being a fan is the worst. Being a fan is the worst thing you can have in life.
That's it. I'm not watching out of it. I don't want to feel this.
No, we need you for Attack on Titan. Stop. We need. We need you for Attack on Titan. Stop it. Attack on Titan's still good. Stop.
But if we're allowed to close it now that we've done talking about Gon,
can I talk about the fight real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to talk about Meruem versus the Chairman Netero because, like, okay, so we get that whole episode where Netero dedicates himself to the Buddha for 20 years, and now he's the perfect Nen master. But then, like, before he leaves the Hunter headquarters and invades North Korea with Killua's grandfather, somebody asks him, being like, "Oh, you're the most strongest Nen fighter in the world. There's no way you don't got this." He's just like, "Listen, son," like, because like in his non-combat uniform he has those big sleeves. It's like, "Listen, son, I haven't been the strongest Nen fighter in like 10, 15 years. I'm probably fifth or sixth at this point." Yeah, 5th or 6th at this point. And which is apt because the current arc of the manga is about his son. It's about Netero's son.
That's his son?
Yeah, creating an expedition to the Demon Continent, where like the species like the Chimera ant arc. Well, it's where like the Chimera the Chimera ants are from and stuff like that. So like that's when they explain like, no, the Chimera ants are only B+. So we need people that are even stronger to get to the Demon Continent. But then so he says all that. So he's like 5th or 6th, and like we always thought he was the strongest from his introduction in season 1. We always thought he was the strongest, and the way he fights, I think, is super super cool. He in Meruem, when fighting him, sees it as a weakness.
You asked me not to say this, but it's about JoJo's.
Yes.
It's about JoJo's.
He summons a stand.
I literally told him like,
you
please
better not bring JoJo's up.
he summons a stand. It's a cool stand. It's really big and powerful.
I even thought about it.
It's a stand.
Like, even when she saw Berserk going on, he's like
lightning speed.
Yeah. No, Gon.
Yeah.
Berserk Gon. Like he doesn't. She's like, you better not bring up JoJo's right now. It's like he's such a JoJo. He's just like,
because he poses. He's just like, oh, I have such long hair and big muscles.
Follow me, Pito.
Meet me outside, pussy. He's just JoJo flexing. And like a lot of people can't stand Meruem's character design because like he looks like Cell from Dragon Ball.
Hey, I was gonna say that. My favorite.
I looked up the manga chapter releases too. Like the chapters that have Meruem's like introduction came out 15 years after those Dragon Ball Z chapters.
Hey, but my favorite insect-like fucking villain is Cell.
Yeah.
But, like, I just forgot what his character design was. I really like his character design.
I like Perfect Cell.
And
Perfect Cell.
No, and I'm not just talking about Cell. I'm talking about Meruem.
Oh, okay.
Like, Meruem's, like,
he's got, like, a helmet.
Yeah, but, like, it seems okay.
He's
like,
a green bug with a helmet.
Like, to me, it's fine. He looks like a... Yeah,
and then he has a syringe tail.
Like a Super Mario fucking character.
But he's got a syringe tail.
Yeah. It just, I don't know.
The tail?
I think
but
I like
and
it.
the hat and the tail. But although it's like Cell, but with the hat.
Yeah, but I like it. Well, Cell had a Pope hat.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like that he kept the tail. I think like maybe like they both look like insects. They're both green, but I think what really like kind of pisses some people off is the tail. Yeah. Like it's literally Cell's tail, bro.
But he never sucks anybody.
No, he just like slices their heads off with it.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, the Meruem versus Chairman Netero fight. Chairman Netero summons a Buddha, a JoJo stand, with 1,000 arms. Well, it has a handful of arms, but it has 1,000 movesets it can do.
The range of motion.
Right. So Netero will clasp his hands, as in prayer, thanking Buddha, thanking God. And then he can like swipe down, and then the Buddha will like swipe down. He can be like, pray, bop. Yeah, exactly. Except it's like an actual like giant fucking Buddha behind him, and like it's cool because like Meruem can like kind of start to guess like where the hand's gonna come down based on like what Netero's thing is. It reminds me of it reminds me of some of the Bankai from Bleach. It reminded me of, oh god, what's his name? The Fox dude, the Fox leader, because some of the Bankai in Bleach are like Ichigo's is like he says Bankai and then he gets more powerful and he gets a different cloak and a different sword, and most of the time it's their sword changing. But one of the team captains in Bleach, like he just summons a 200 tall like fucking thing when and that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, and then the king,
Meruem?
He's like, okay, so every time he puts his hands together, he's going to attack.
And he's vulnerable though. Like that second he has to pray,
he goes like this.
he's vulnerable.
And he takes advantage by trying to. Well, he ends up cutting off his arm.
And then
He cuts off his leg first, doesn't he?
He cuts off his leg first, and
Really?
then he like.
Oh yeah, he's like
says the womb closed.
Yeah. He's
Which
just
is
like,
crazy.
you think I'm gonna bleed out?
Dude, I love Netro's like.
I love Netro.
He has like a Griffith kind of essence to him because he's like, I only did this because I'm kind of cool. But if I was like out of my head, like I wouldn't be this cool.
You're good because you're crazy. If I was as crazy as you, unstoppable. You don't even get it.
Exactly.
If I was not a good guy, like nothing would, like
Exactly.
this shit wouldn't exist right now.
Exactly. And then like he cuts his leg, and then he cuts his other arm. It's like, what you think? Are you stupid?
You think I can't give praise to Buddha with one hand? Watch me, pussy.
yeah, he's like, this is a feeling or something like that. like,
You think I need to clasp my hands to praise? I was doing that as a mercy to God. I was thanking God with my
Physically.
with my sense of vulnerability. You think I was doing that for you? You think this was a weakness? Watch what the Buddha has given me.
Yeah.
And it's like the 0-hand Buddha, and it's just like that Buddha like
Opening
stand.
his mouth and
Well, it
like-
comes out from behind Meruem, grasps him, and like Meruem's just like trapped. He's like, wait,
yeah, he's like, wait, what?
And he says, grasp him gently. He's like,
but
the
like,
Buddha
but
hands-
still strong. Yeah.
Yeah. But like he grabs him gently.
But it's like a prayer motion still.
Yeah, like the narrator, not the narrator, but like
The narrator said it.
No, Netro is explaining. It's like,
Oh, is he?
he's grasping you gently, but you cannot move. But like you're in a gentle place. You're like at home. You're in your mother's breast. You know what I'm saying? And he's just like,
You're in the womb. Yeah, and it's just like, no hand Buddha. And then it's just like, just vomits all his nen onto that one spot.
crazy.
That's what I'm saying, V. I don't know how you don't like that. Cause like,
I did like it.
Because Meruem is treating that whole fight like it's a chess game, like it's Gungi. He's just like, okay, that's your move. All right, bro. I can see it from 1,000 miles away. And then like, okay, he's gonna clasp. He's gonna clasp. Okay, he's gonna clasp. Okay, this is my opening. Okay,
No,
wait,
I'm telling
dodge,
you, like
clasp.
I do like the fight just because of
Netro?
Yeah, Netro, but it's just like going back to Meruem, like he's just like, all right, what's my name? Like,
Well, it's
he was like over the fight already. Like he's like,
it's also one of these traits of like in shonen, xenophobia is not a novel trait for a villain to have. That happens almost all the time in shonen. Like Frieza, Frieza's like a classic example because it's like a shonen that everybody knows in Dragon Ball Z. Frieza's a huge xenophobe. It's just like, you dirty fucking monkeys, you don't think I can beat you? And he just says that for like 2 fucking
Ever,
arcs
for
and
25 years.
Yeah, and everyone just loves him for that. Yeah. But like it's that hubris of xenophobia that also kept like Meruem from being the perfect being, because like we named a couple things. He's a preemie. His mother didn't have enough time to digest enough humans, and
he didn't even get named.
He didn't get named. He never, and like that part of that hubris is he never developed a Nen technique. Like he was just with his physical self, just like beating, just raw dogging a Nen attack from the 5th strongest Nen user in the world. So like and it's part of that hubris. He's like, I don't have to develop a Nen technique because I'm the perfect being. Like, who do you think Meruem, the king of the Chimera ants, is? Mm-hmm. So like, if he didn't have that hubris, if he didn't have that xenophobia, and he actually took the time to be like, hey, people might actually threaten me, and I should develop a technique. Like, he would have been unstoppable. Nobody could have stopped him.
yeah.
But then he commits Sudoku.
Netro is also using a bunch of ageist language because, like, it's that same thing that, like I said, he was using with Pito, where it's like, you child, you sapling, you infant, you
Larva.
preemie, you larva. I think he said you larva at one point. And like that's why that's why Netro never takes the Chimera ant like as a real threat, even though he does have contingency plans. And then once like Meruem actually survives the no-handed like Buddha, he's just like, oh shit, you're real? Well, fuck this. Like pierces his heart, and then we get a half episode explaining that there's a nuke in his heart.
Oh yeah.
A long time ago, humans made atomic bombs.
The dirty bomb.
But then everybody decided not to have their bombs, but there were some out there.
Yeah.
In the shadows.
Yep. That's literally how that half episode goes.
Yeah. And then Netro, he just had one in his heart. Like,
And he's like,
yeah, he
with his fingers.
Well, he was still in a prayer motion because he's cross-legged, like his stump
On his knee.
and his leg on his knees. He's still in a praying motion and just kind of like pierces his heart with his one last hand, detonates the bomb, so like a fucking nuke goes off in front of
the
Meruem.
rose, the poor man's rose.
The poor man's rose. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't call it the fucking red water lily
The
or what?
hero, the spider lily.
The spider lily. Why didn't they call it the red spider lily? That would have been
Like Hiroshima or Nagasaki.
the spider lily is like this really common like visual trope in anime that it always means somebody's gonna die. Anytime you see a red spider lily in anime, it means that person's gonna die.
It's like funeral flowers, like lilies. Like he's
okay.
speaking daisies. Like he's
Yeah.
picking up daisies, right?
Yep.
Like he's picking up daisies. Like daisies
Something
are
like
a funeral like flower. Like spider lilies are this thing.
Which we're talking about Lycoris recoil in 3-4 days, and there's a lot of imagery with red spider lilies in that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about yet. I'm only on episode 6. Don't say nothing. So a nuke goes off in front of Meruem. He's basically nuked, and like Poof and Yuppie show up, and like there's just this pillar of fucking nuclear radiation, and they're just like, what the fuck is going on? Where the fuck is the king? We just know he's in this direction somewhere. So then Yuppie, because he unlocked the power of self-respect, unlocked a new form while fighting Knuckle. So he just walks into nuclear radiation, into this pillar of flame, and just like
Finds the
end of the episode is you just hear him crying. He's like,
log.
"Man!" Like,
a log of what the king used to be.
yeah, it's just this
log.
little like this little charcoal.
Yeah.
And next episode starts. It's just like, poof! I found the charcoal man.
Sire.
Yeah, and it's just them crying for half an episode, just saying
then
sire.
And then Poof is like, here, eat the rest of me, but
Yeah.
like not actually the rest of me, but it is the rest of me.
Poof has the power to like separate himself into tens of thousands of pieces
Yeah.
that are also like parts of Nen. So like he can interject physical Nen into the king, and that's how he tries to revive him.
And then Yuppie is like liquefying
His
like,
Nen.
and just like feeding it, like finger feeding it to like the king.
Please
And then-
drink water.
And then not only this, but then the fact that they did that, just like the Chimera ant biology is, like if you ingest something, you become part of it. So now the royal guards, except Pito, because Pito's getting the fucking shit beat out of him, the king ingests this and he's like, oh, this is so delicious. And then Poof
It
is
gets
like,
real. It gets really fucking really
Yeah, I was
fucking
like,
what's it called? Fan.
fan servicey.
Yeah, it gets real fan servicey
Like out of nowhere too, because it's like you haven't seen that all season.
it's just Pito just having the time of his life
Not
that the king
Pito.
is eating. I
Yeah,
mean,
both of them, Yuppie and
no,
Pito.
no, not Pito.
No.
Yuppie and
Oh,
Poof.
Yuppie and Poof.
I meant
Sorry.
Poof. I meant
Yeah.
Poof. Just Poof. Just fucking just geeking about the king eating him, and
Well, they both were,
Yeah, they're both. And then not only that, but like the king, by eating his royal guards, he has a closer connection to his mother now, because technically the royal guard are firstborn to the queen. So now he has an epiphany of seeing the queen.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to really know my name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, but he does
he
learn his
does
name.
learn.
He does learn
Right
his
right
name.
before.
But then he loses his memory from
Yeah,
the...
he gets amnesia from like being
Correct.
nuked.
And this is where,
Okay.
Understandable.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
this is where Poof is like, oh, he lost his memory.
I can manipulate him.
Yeah,
I
this-
can go
that's-
kill Como.
There's like a poof mini manipulation arc in the last 6 episodes.
Which also
wild.
reminded me of, like, there is this one scene where before Pito and Gon got to Kite, there's a part where Pito had their phone and then can vaguely hear supposedly that Komogi was fine after that and that it was okay to basically
Yes.
like do whatever. But like they showed this power of Poof that they never introduced it once, and I mean they only introduced it that one
I
time.
do hate stuff like that.
And
I
it's
complain.
like-
It was
I
a
complain.
write-off.
Yeah, like
And
a
it
narrative
was
write
just
off.
like,
I complain about stuff like that all the time.
and it was Poof just like, oh, by the way,
Since I can spread my cells this much, I can also change my face and my voice.
and my voice, like it was just him, and that was like
I do hate that.
random. I was like, wait,
JoJo's does that a lot, and it makes me so mad.
yeah, that was a little.
God, you'd hate watching a whole season of JoJo's. You would literally hate
Yeah.
watching a whole season of
I
JoJo's.
watched a few episodes when.
No,
But like a whole season?
Oh.
Is
Like, imagine that
it's
for, like, 48
the
episodes.
entire the entire.
Imagine that for 48 episodes. That's what it's like watching
Yeah,
JoJo's.
and racist remarks.
Yeah, and really racist remarks. That's JoJo's. So you're right. You're right. It's really dumb because like Gon did not kill Pito while Pito was using Dr. Blythe on Booger Girl because Pito promised that she would revive Kite. So then Gon like strong arms him, like metaphorical gun in the back, being like, "Okay, now I'm gonna take you to Kite, and you're gonna revive him." And then Pito shows up and he's just like,
He's dead, dude.
dude, like he's big dead."
He smells.
Yeah.
Like, can you smell?
Do you see that Frankenstein motherfucker? Like,
He's great, bro.
yeah, he's great. He doesn't have color. There's like there's bugs eating him, and you think I'm gonna revive that?
Yeah.
So you're right. And then that power happens, and then like Gon just takes Pito to the forest, and
I like the spiral down. I like the
I like it a
Gon
lot.
spiral down because it feels like the congratulations.
Well, I like it because
Congratulations.
it's like that 90 it's like that 90s early 2000s
NGE?
horror where it's like that you don't know what he's gonna do. Like he's so off the edge. It's like what is he capable of right now? Kind of writing, which I think is really apt for a character that we've only seen
Doing good
for
stuff.
for like the previous 70 episodes, just like being the greatest person possible. But that's also like the heroic downfall. It's like, dude, you were the best of us. He's fucking Anakin.
Yeah.
Like he's Anakin Skywalker. Like, dude, you were the chosen one.
Derek
You
Rose.
you were supposed to save us from the dark side, not become it.
Deshaun Watson.
It's real of a joke, Aldo. Don't make me sad right now. But yes, for real. Like, dude, you were the best of us. You've just been a decent person and like just not given into the dark side, and like Gon gives into the dark side because like in the prequels in Star Wars, Anakin is a human. He is a real person, and he loved a woman, and his love for Padme.
Corrupt his motivation.
Yeah, because like the point of the Jedi not having personal relationships, like having a whole ass secret wife and family.
Like if you don't love anybody, you will never feel jealous of anybody, and if you don't feel jealous of anybody, you will never feel hatred to anybody. So you will never feel anything bad. So that's why there will be like this incel kind of like
and
culture.
that's Gon's heroic fault is that like dude like kill Kite saved me at one point. He's one of my dad's best friends, and you killed him. And I'm super mad that you lied to me. So now, dude, you're dead. You're like your life is null and void, and I'm gonna give myself into the dark side. So Gon makes a contract with his Nen self to sacrifice all Nen he will ever have.
That's what I wanted to tell Vianney. It's like, do you remember that quote that he said is like, "This is it." It's like as he's going into his,
Well, it's Killua explaining it to the audience.
Oh, is it? No,
Yeah.
I think it was No, I think it was Gon because as
Oh,
he's
was
going
it?
to his like as he's going to his
No, it was the
spiral-
narrator. It was the narrator.
I don't think so because he's going into a spiral down where he's like
No, it was
when-
Gon because
when
he was
Pito-
like,
Pito
"Oh,
gets
it's
his
my
arm
fault."
fixed and then he's like, I'm sorry, I need to kill you now. It's like, no, no. This is the moment that I'm gonna use all the nen that I will ever need, and that's when the transformation happens.
So he turns into a 36-year-old.
Yeah,
I know. I was like, huh?
yeah.
And I just, at first, I thought it was just like a new power he developed, which he did, but technically, he's just like that was.
It's because of Nen has really stringent contracts. Like he's
Like
just
Kurapika.
like, yeah, like Kurapika's gone made a contract with himself that was like, I will use all my Nen power ever, like that I will ever have, and turn me into my perfect self to beat Pito. There's Aldo, I know you've seen it. Dragon Ball GT, like Goku gets turned into a child, but whenever he turns Super Saiyan 4, he turns into an adult because that's like his real powerful self.
Yes.
It's just kind of a thing in Shonen where like when somebody's so powerful that they become their perfect self,
Interstellar kind of shit.
yeah, they turn into their perfect being. And for Gon, it's like somebody that's like 26 or so, and that's why he's just like bleeding Nen powers
Living behind his life with Killua, living behind his life with Kurapika,
for revenge, which is
Yeah.
which is like the worst motivation possible. It's for literal revenge. He doesn't need to kill Pito anymore because Meruem's already on the downfall. He's got amnesia. Like everyone else has already accomplished whatever. And like he does it just strictly out of revenge, which is just like the worst motivation to have because it doesn't accomplish anything. Like there's a saying about an eye for an eye. So I think, again, what makes the end of the Chimera Ant arc remind me of George Lucas's trilogy so much is that Komugi kind of lives on. Like Meruem has amnesia, doesn't know that his girl's still alive, just like how Anakin was being manipulated by the Emperor into
turning.
to turning to the dark side because he led him to believe that both Padme and his twin children had died, which wasn't true because Luke and Leia survived. But Meruem spends the next like 3-4 episodes just like discovering more about his memory. He discovers the deception of Poof and of Yuppie, and the final scene for them is an after credit scene, so some people miss it, and it makes me super super sad because basically Meruem had he's become a victim of like radioactive poisoning a little bit because of the dirty bomb, and
Well,
Really all?
didn't Poof poison them?
well all of them.
Well,
Oh,
They were
right.
they were all victims of the poisoning from going to that nuclear site from the dirty bomb, and so after Poof dies, like trying to do some side adventure, trying to tie up loose ends from like the defected Chimera Ant officers, Yuppie a lot of the same thing. Like he's not as strong as he used to be anyways, so like he just kind of dies off while trying to defeat the wolf guy. But then Meruem and Booger Girl are just Komugi are just they're just doing what they were doing at the beginning of the raid. They're just playing Gungi, and Meruem's still getting his ass kicked, and he's still super impressed and like in love with the person that Komugi is. And the after credit scene like goes dark, and it's them calling out their moves like, you know, King, A12, whatever, and Meruem stopping and being like, Komugi, are you still there? Yes, I'm here, my lord. I love you so much. And then like Komugi speaks, Knight to
last
B12 or something. And then Meruem again, like, Komugi, are you still there? I can't see you anymore. And after a while, like their voices just kind of fade, and they be like she died wanting to do nothing but spend like the rest of her life with him, and he died just doing nothing but wanting to play Gungi for the rest of his life with her.
Like a kill of a mockingbird.
Yeah, and like the only reason she was even exposed to that nuclear like residue was because he was hanging out with her. So like he's the reason for her death entirely, even though he just loved her so much he just wanted to hang out with her.
Yeah.
So it's like this perfect xenophobic being. If Frieza and Cell, these perfect amorphous artificially
Hitler
created
was
beings,
sitting down having tea with.
yeah, just died having tea and just being enlightened, like. And again, like I think that's apt because like Meruem dies enlightened when the person that poisoned him with the dirty bomb was such an apt like Buddhist practicer. So, and that's the end of Meadowing's story.
Yeah.
Like
I think that was one of the only parts I actually enjoyed from the whole season was like how much he was able to change throughout since the day he was born, and
his evil upbringings.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is just like a love story at the end of the day. Like that's how I saw it. I was like, oh, and I'm glad I saw that because I was like, okay, like I know I shit a lot on this whole season, but at the same time, like that last episode, I was like, okay, well at least it ended like that. Like,
I wanted to choke a little bit. I was like,
no, and it's completely fine. Now that you brought it up, it does, and I feel like, and this happens to us all the time. That when we talk about it, we like
him more. Yeah.
So I feel like you got that today.
Yeah.
You got that today.
Just kidding.
Was it worth the conversation?
Yeah, and I'm glad because, again, there's a lot of things I didn't understand. And even after I finished watching it, and before I watched that end credit, like, I was telling Aldo, I'm like, I'm like, what? I don't get what happened.
They're just playing Goongi again?
and, like, he explained, like, the end of an era for Gon, and I'm like, oh, well, that is pretty sad. You know, like, how someone who was so pure, so, like, optimistic.
You were
and
the
just,
best
like,
of us. Because Pito even says that when they're getting their face bashed in, Pito's literally like, did he just make a fucking deal to sell his nen? Like, he's so talented. Why did he do that? Mm-hmm. Like, Pito, well, in the middle of getting decapitated by perfect 36-year-old Gon, is just like, why? Like, I'm worth that? What is going on right now?
I couldn't do that for the king.
Yeah, I couldn't even do that for the king. Why are you selling your nen right now?
Yeah. So, like, as he was explaining it to me, I'm like, okay, I had a whole different perspective, but explaining it, that's the only reason I'm like, oh, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, because it was just kind of like...
That happens all the time to us.
We have to ground ourselves.
There's so many times, like, something 24, 25 episodes even. Like, even 60 episodes, I can't... That's a whole different experience. But, like, we'll watch something like 86, which is an adaptation of one of the most popular light novel series of the past 5 years, and just absolutely just rail it into the ground for, like, 3 hours. But by the end of it, we're like... That was worth the conversation. That was worth the conversation. Yeah, I feel like I learned more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I suppose. Like, in general, like, I enjoyed it, I guess. But the moment, I was like, it was such a drag. Like, he's like, okay, babe, we need to watch it. And I'm like, I don't wanna. Like, it was just one of those where I'm like, ugh, like, it was a drag to watch.
It's been so long already. It's like, where's my payout? And she hasn't experienced this. For some animes that you love, they'll give you that payout.
That's why I'm also, like, apologizing to listeners and viewers who watch.
Please, me, I love it so much. I love it so much. Why did you say this?
Just because, like, if you're the type of person that, you know, you're more experienced than I am. Like, I'm barely into anime. And so, like, I don't know, I guess, like, this is the first time I actually experienced a feeling like this towards a season that I'm just like,
babe,
like,
and even myself, like, I didn't know I knew a lot about, like, this talking points of anime until we started this podcast, and until I started talking to, like, Drew about, like, this stories being told, this tropes, this medium of storytelling. Until today, I had a different perspective of what the Chimera Ant arc was. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was like something sweet, ending something fluent, something that, but it's like that joke on the internet when you're showing your kids the first Infinity Saga, and and you show them the first Infinity Wars Part 1. Is like, no, you have to wait a year until you watch the next part, like everybody else did, so you can understand.
You're gonna make them watch 20 years of like of Marvel movies.
Exactly. So it's just I don't know. I love because I know you're a nerd deep down, even though you don't accept it yourself. But like,
I'm in denial.
But this is what anime is about.
I just hope we haven't scared you so far away that like you're still down to watch like season 4 of Attack on Titan, because like that's like 3 episodes worth of content for this podcast, because it was split into several cores. One of them has yet to even come out yet. So like I hope we haven't scared you away. I don't know if you ended up finishing season 3 that week that we were supposed to talk about it. You did?
Yeah.
Oh god, that makes me feel even worse. But anyways, so we'll have you like for 2 episodes just for Attack on Titan, and then anything else you want to watch. Like there's several things that me and Karen have seen together. Like I've been trying to piece together some like a brief December January schedule, because holidays, and I'm doing a lot of traveling in January, and like I'm trying to figure out like some podcast scheduling things. There's some short anime that me and Karen have watched. I'd love to have you back, or if there's anything you're interested in,
there's
independently anything like you want to watch. Like I'm pretty sure Aldo likes you. We can have you back on the podcast. Anything you want to talk about, V.
And honestly,
Really?
like I
2 kids like her. Or?
No, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because like I want to get into a new show.
Anime now.
You know
After
what I mean?
watching 60 episodes of the
No, and
You
I've
can
been
do
craving.
anything now.
I've been craving like watching a
That's
new
true
anime.
though. You're like a real like shonen connoisseur. You've made it through 136 episodes of Hunter x Hunter.
And she's always guessing voice actors out of nowhere. She's like,
Oh yeah,
That's
you were
Hisoka's
sending
voice.
you were sending me some that V had pinpointed like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like, dude,
That's
I had no
Killua.
idea. This is like a 10-year-old anime. I had no idea.
yeah.
I don't know. They just have distinctive voices.
No.
But I've even been craving watching a new anime. Even like I haven't told Aldo, but like even the times that I've just been home alone, and I'll go to
Crunchyroll. Or
Crunchyroll, and I'm like, what do I try? But then I'm like, I don't know. I get scared off.
Everything
Like
looks
I'm
so
like, it's
crazy.
intimidating.
Yeah.
There's a couple Karen like, which I'm not saying you two are the same, but like if you want some ideas, or maybe if you want a whole different genre, on Crunchyroll, me and Karen have seen the entirety of My Dress Up Darling, and you haven't seen it. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to them.
I heard that's good.
Oh, I heard you said that's good. I'm like, don't lie to
that's
them.
good.
Don't lie to them. And then on Netflix, there's a 2-core anime that we watched for like an entire year called Komi Can't Communicate, that Karen really likes too. And we're currently watching Chainsaw Man.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Chainsaw
like
Man is fun.
the one that we haven't talked about is oh my god, I totally blanked out. The one with the little panda. With the, like,
Agretsuko. Red Panda.
Oh shit!
You guys got me into that one,
Oh
and we never talked
shit!
about
She's
it.
never been here.
Oh, we never watched season 3 of Agretsuko. Oh my god!
So that one I
Wow,
got
we haven't
super
talked about
into.
Agretsuko for like 2 years.
And I wasn't even in the podcast. I remember hearing about it. I watched it with Aldo and stuff, and I just liked
I think
it
the second
afterwards.
part had Karen. In it. It did,
Yeah?
didn't it?
I think
I think it did.
so.
I don't know,
I
but
can't
I
even
remember.
remember. It was so. Oh, it was Valentine. We had Valentine in it. God, that was so long ago. Yeah, it's literally like 2 years ago. Which I think is funny because like I'm uploading like really old episodes onto our YouTube channel because like we didn't have a YouTube presence for forever, and I barely got to the point that I'm uploading episodes from December 2020.
Damn.
Like I'm getting into the sub 25 episodes. So
Luckily,
Why aren't
once
you
we're
guys
done-
getting paid for this again?
Oh,
beats me. Hi Plan, please send me a hoodie. Please, I paid for it. I will still shout you out.
Yes, all this negative space can be yours.
Like literally, I walk in this room to set up for a podcast episode and be like, how do I fill up like blank space in the front of the frame?
But anyways, nerds, thank you for being with us in this season 5
premiere.
Season 5 premiere. Episode 121. Thank you guys for being here for more than
I'm guessing it's more than
weeks.
2 hours.
104 weeks.
Oh.
You know,
We were
every
watching for
week.
5 weeks.
You know, thank you for being here. Thank you guys to follow us. Thank you to the Arab Emirates.
The United Arab Emirates.
The United Arab Emirates.
For what?
We ranked there.
We are ranked there. Our second highest rank right now is France and Germany, depending on the week. I don't know why that's happening.
Thank you guys. We baguettes. Thank you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
They're like, never mind.
But thank you everybody who's been listening to us. This is your nerds, Julius, Aldo Mendez, and your newly baptized nerd, Vianney Sosa. In denial. This has been Between Nerds.
And yeah, this has been Between
Nerds.
Nerds.